Hello and welcome to the Eradicators. I am your host for today, Aurora, and today we are going to review Hades, which is a roguelike hack-and-slash action RPG that fell under the radar of most gamers, yet, in my opinion, deserved a little bit of attention, which is why I'm doing this video. Hades was officially released in September last year, though it was available in early access for nearly 2 years prior to its release. It's now available on Steam, the Nintendo Switch, and the Epic Store as well. It was developed by Supergiant Games, a small independent American studio previously known for having developed and released Bastion, Transistor, and Pyre. So, what is Hades about, you may ask? Well, in Hades, you play as Zagreus, Hades' little-known son, as he rebelliously attempts to run away from his home, the Underworld. Very quickly, he is noticed and helped by his extended family, the Olympians, who only just learned of his existence and wish to help him join them. However, the Underworld is a treacherous place, and getting out is, unsurprisingly, no easy business. Zagreus will have to die and try again several times as he learns to master his weapons and how to fight his various enemies. The game is divided in 5 parts. The first is the House of Hades, in the deepest reaches of the Underworld, where Zagreus can speak to his friends, attendants, and family. Next is Tartarus, which is the lowest level outside of his home and where you will fight your first enemies. Then comes Asphodel, Elysium, and finally the Temple of Styx, where the gateway to our world is located. Each zone outside of the House of Hades is guarded at the end by a fearsome guardian, which will try their best to defeat all hopes you might have of escape. Zagreus starts out with a sword, though as the game progresses you'll quickly be able to unlock up to 5 other weapons, each with its different playstyle and unlockables. Throughout your journey, you will be able to interact and build relationships with your relatives and friends who might reward you with various gifts and boons, making the runs that much easier. You will also be able to collect items of currency that will allow you to make the game easier on you, bit by bit. Now at first, I really wasn't sold on that game. Though I had heard of Supergiant Games' title before, none of them particularly appealed to me, and this game had equally gone under my radar for a while before I started to pay any attention to it at all. I'm definitely not interested in hack-and-slash games, which I usually find repetitive and boring, and roguelike games are something that, at best, I would play casually when I don't have anything else to play. The few images I'd seen from Hades really didn't seem appealing to me, and I really wasn't convinced by what little of the art style had been shown either. And yet, my group of gamer friends were really enthusiastic about it, talking about their favorite weapons and how they hoped to beat this or that boss, and they kept going on and on about how it was such an amazing game. I thought they were trolling me at first, but in the end, spurred by a temporary lack of good games to play, I did try it. And as it turns out, this game is surprisingly good, and here is what makes me think so. The graphics are not at all what I first assumed they were. They have their own style, sure, but it's a style that is well thought, consistent, daring, cheerful, yet also respectful of its subject matter, and well, simply put, it grows on you. It may look childish at first, but as you play the game, ends up perfectly fitting the game's universe. The music is amazing. It is a perfect blend of modern rock and underworldy Greek-like vibes. I would even go as far as saying that some of the guitar riffs in several tracks are worth listening to on their own. As you may hear, it may seem peculiar, but somehow it works! It goes really well with the game as a whole, and it even has its little in-game lore attached to it, which I thought was a really neat addition. Gameplay-wise, yes, this is a roguelike, and a hack-and-slash one at that, and yet Supergiant Games has really managed to hit that fine-tuning of making the player feel like each death is not a loss, but progress in itself. The characters throughout the Underworld not only react to your progress, but also to how that progress has been accomplished. Hypnos will give you personalized encouragement depending on how you died. Zagreus will drop a little comment should you progress further than you've ever progressed before. Hades, the Greek god of the Underworld, will sneer appropriately at how far you've come. Even the bosses will have something to say about your progress every time you face them. Well, those that can speak anyway. This game is absolutely endearing in how kind it is with you in its own way, despite absolutely brutalizing you during every run. You end up dying pathetically, and yet find yourself eagerly preparing for yet another run, as the overall scenario slowly unveils around you. The game feels really smooth and balanced as well. At first, everything seems hard and the game itself feels like it'll be impossible to beat. But the more you progress and learn, the more everything naturally gets tolerably easier. Moving around feels good, and the 3 types of attacks you have for each weapon complement each other well, though how well will depend on the choices you pick for each run. The more you progress in a run, the more you'll encounter annoying enemies and traps, but that too feels natural and not so much a hindrance as the normal progression of the game, designed to keep challenging you. The way the game encourages you to try all the different weapons at your disposal is also a nice touch, adding further depth to an already well-polished hack-and-slash system. The things that keep you going are quests. Soon enough, you'll unlock something called prophecies, something the game tells you you're going to succeed at, and when you do, you'll get a reward. This is a very efficient way of getting you further motivated to reach new milestones in the game and get ever closer to escaping the underworld for the first time, let alone fully completing the game. The writing too feels very polished. The characters are well-rounded, each with their own well-defined personality, motivations, and story. Nothing feels out of place, and plot holes or inconsistencies are non-existent. Everything ties in quite well with everything else, and it is a real pleasure for someone like me who tends to put a lot of value on a well-designed scenario. Finally, I have to say that one thing I was very skeptical about, but that ended up absolutely blowing my mind, was how respectful Supergiant Games has been with the Greek mythology and ancient Greek culture in general with this game. While they did take some creative liberties in how they portray the inhabitants of the underworld, the rest of their work is visibly grounded in solid research. Zagreus isn't a character that was so much invented as an already existing obscure deity described in the ancient Greek religious movement of Orphism, associated with the mythical poet Orpheus. The game actually makes fun of that, with Zagreus playfully trolling Orpheus, who takes everything he's told at face value. The various gods aren't vilified or glorified, but perfectly portrayed as flawed beings, with each occasionally suffering from those very mood swings that are infamously present in Greek legends. The various legendary monsters all mostly retain characteristics that are equally rooted in legends. All of this is extremely satisfying, as well as an excellent surprise in what I expected to be a small yet enjoyable game. All in all, I thought Hades would be an okay game to pass the time before the next big title, and it ended up being my favorite game of 2020, hands down. Now, not only do I completely understand why my friends had so much fun with it, but wow, I'm not even sure I'm done having fun with it myself, and it's been 5 months! This game, how polished it is, and its attention to detail has completely outblown my expectations, and I want to see it through the very end. Supergiant Games chose to put their game in early access and let the community help them polish the game to the best it could be, and I'm impressed by how well that strategy paid off 2 years later. Oh, and it is also worth noting that I'm far from being the only person surprised by this game, as it has received numerous awards, is considered one of the best games of 2020 by several publications, in addition to having won the Best Indie Game Award both at the Golden Joystick Awards and the Game Awards 2020, all of which I wholeheartedly think it deserves. And that's all for this video. Thank you very much for watching. This was my very first contribution to this channel, so I hope that you enjoy watching it with me, and if you think that I did a good job, don't hesitate to leave a like or drop a comment to tell me what you think of this game. I wish you all a wonderful day, and I hope to see you soon on the channel for the Eradicators. This has been Aurora, voila voila.
This video is brought to you by the people who support this channel on Patreon and via the join button as well. Supporters of the channel get access to lots of cool perks, such as access to my private Discord, your question answered in the show, you get to know when I'm going to play, and also you get to have a chance to influence the editorial line of the channel. Any help is appreciated, starts at just $1 a month. Thank you very much for watching. This is the Eradicator, and I'll see you guys later.